Crash Bandicoot 2.
It is. I believe I fixed Waffle Heist now. I've reset it up, so I'm not sure if the payouts are correct at the moment. But I think they are. So feel free to get Waffle Heist cracking, guys. And if you notice any slip-ups with the Waffle Heist, anything I need to change, please do let me know. So Carl's done !WH 15,000. Cool. That's not brought up the thing yet, though. We'll give it a second. Apparently postmodernism in community was a really tough subject to get a good grade in as well, so happy, not sure when you get a grade, but keep it in. Beautiful, dude, beautiful. Shit, my thing fell off. What is going on? Is it done again? Basically, I'm worried about the bot I'm using at the moment, because every single time I've gone onto this bot in the last week, and it hasn't been an update, it's basically made me log into absolutely everything, like, again, like, and it's making me do it all again now. So now it's working, the bot was on, but it just wasn't connected. It keeps disconnecting itself. That one, it disconnected itself after I'd connected it as well before stream, so yeah. That would also explain why, like, I noticed yesterday, after I'd streamed, or not yesterday, the day before, I realised when I was playing Skater, the guy Bodhi who'd dropped a raid on me, a load of people followed after that. I didn't get any messages, nothing popped up on stream, like, I didn't get anything in the box, it was only afterwards, and I was like, oh shit, they probably think I'm a really rude arsehat now. And I'm not rude, you know? Okay, Waffle Heist going, Mojo baby! How you doing, dude? We're just talking about the pains of technology. You put one final one in the Discord. Put the final one interest in reading. Oh man, I'll be totally into reading, especially since it's on community. Fucking hell. Mojo, how you doing, baby? Lovely to see you. Excuse me, that was a lot happening in the burp. My burp had to get out somehow. I know, they're probably all out there now being like, wow, what a rude arsehole, I hate him. I'm definitely gonna not say anything out loud, but I'll always remember that I hate them and him forever. I will make sure other people do. I only died once. Fine. What's happening, partner? Yeah! Start as you mean to go on. That's what we learnt somewhere at one point. Okay, so if you would stop being a fire monkey, and I can jump across. Lovely. Ooh. I didn't see that nitro underneath it. I nearly belly slammed that as well. The only reason I didn't belly slam it was because it had the bouncy one. So I was like, right, I'm gonna just stand on a bouncy one. I don't want to lose life, you know. Or I didn't want to lose the apples even. That was a good try of Crash, I know, right? I know. Now, on to Crash Team Racing! Which I haven't actually played in yonks. Look at these two over there. They got the lizard and the rat both just staring me down. Look, wherever I go, they're just staring me down. What's your deal, fam? Alright. Don't give me. Oh! Hey, a checkpoint. Okay, so. So know what Wagwan means, but Wagwan means like what is going on. It's a shortening of like that, as far as I believe. But Wagwan is like saying how you doing, what's up. It's just a general greeting, basically, more than anything. But it generally means what's going on, kind of thing. Yeah. But payout is correct. Fucking A, cool. So we got that right. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, okay, everything's there's right. Except, basically, I put it, if it 1 to 25% of people won, it should have said, we should feel proud of today's waffle haul, and then it cut it off, because I know everybody was always complaining that it says many will eat tonight when it isn't, it's just one person. But apparently, it's still doing that, so I did try to correct that. I tried to make it more accurate. Yeah. That's what you went, nice, yeah. What is going on, my brother ring? That's generally what it stands for. Get fucked, monkey. That was probably fair. I got my water. Oops. Oh. Whoa. It used to be 45k, didn't it? Yeah, I died pretty quick on that one. It's a good point. Was it 45? I think it was 30, wasn't it? Like, I don't know if Mojo's just trying to lead me on. He might be telling the truth. He might be playing up to my density. There's just no way for me to know. Oh, come on now! Shenanigans. We've already lost a life. Well, I mean, we're already on 1 life, even. Fuck you, monkey. Maybe I should just stop telling the monkey fuck you. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe I'm being too mean to the monkey. You don't remember... You stopped doing with us for a while. Oh, fair enough, yeah. You're pretty sure it was 45. Oh, okay. Maybe it was then. Okay. I can change that. If that is the case, we can change that. I'll do it, like, once I fail and have to do the continue anyway. I did a cool spin in the air. No. Oh! No! Did you see that cool spin in the air? I did. I didn't know I could do that. That was cool. But I am dead now. And game over. Okay, so it's 45 for subs. Okay, let me actually change that now before we start again. Don't laugh at me, you fucker. Yes. Okay, so let's go into settings. Hey, JJ! How you doing today, buddy? Lovely to see you. We're currently trying to work out something that fucked up on my bot. And then I'm gonna fail at Crash Bandicoot again. Yeah! How you doing today, dude? Still warming up a little bit. That's it. So it keeps seeing people getting 37.5 and being confused. Oh, it's just sub difference. And this guy keeps laughing at me. Okay, so... Maybe... It'll be that... that, and then maybe that. Hush your brow. We'll get. Okay, so that might. I've changed it again. Hopefully, it's more correct now. Hey, and Jezzy, how you doing today as well, man? Lovely to see you. Right. Okay. I think that means it's back to normal. So next time there's a waffle heist, it should be fine. It should be the normal payouts again. Hopefully, I just guessed on the math. I'm pretty sure the mod payout's right, but I need to see if the subscriber's right, because I just kind of guessed. I didn't want to try math. I mean, who really... It's not really cool to try, is it? Especially at math, so... Yeah. It's cool to do. Yeah. No! Shit! And I'm doing swell. Cheers, thanks. Yes, poorly last days. Did go to work, but oh man, that sucks. It's never nice going to work when you feel emotions. My emotions! Beautiful. It was funny the other day when the cooldown was like 3 hours. Oh man, yeah, that was savage. It's just everything was wrong about it. It was the cooldown was 3 hours. My bot was shooting people in the skull and shit. Like that wasn't chill. That's not how people have good fun, you know. And the fizz is great, thank you. I'm great. I was having a bit of internet trouble before the stream started, and I was like, don't be one of those days. Like, I literally went and made a cup of tea, was about to start, and then my internet was like off, and I was like, why? Why now? I'm not going to jump on the nitro. They're bad luck. Okay. No, I didn't. You got lucky there, monkey. You might not get lucky there, though. Ah. Nom nom nom. Right. And up. And yeah, there was one. Oh, sweet. There was a Ooga Booga up there. Nice. It's always worth doing like a double, like bounce, do a double bounce to get a higher jump on those things. Even if you can't see. This game has so many extra things like off the side of the maps and stuff. Yeah. It's a tea. Switch to coffee. No. No. Oh shit. I've actually got some, like, well, I don't think it's nice. Oh, I shouldn't have hit that. I regret that. Yeah, get wrecked. Oh shit. But yeah, I've actually got some supposedly nice coffee here. Oh, I didn't see him right there for some reason. My mate brought around because I never drink it, so I was like, feel free to buy some coffee. Like, I don't drink it, so I don't know what's good. What? What? Okay. But am I gonna need that I'm gonna like, it's gonna like fail me because I needed that like earlier or something. I'm gonna need to have hit that thing to get like some boxes later or something, but I don't want to risk it. Also, people from the UK. Oh shit! Why did I do that? People, how fucking hot has it been today? It's been crazy hot. I feel a sweat upon my brow at times. And safety. Woo! Do the nitros blurp if you walk into them? Yeah, if you remotely touch them at all, they kick right off. They kick right off. Okay, let's get some lives back here. Thank you. Oh. Shit. Bullshit. Damn you, I just wanted points. Oh, okay, I can try again. Shit. What does the Oku character do? He protects you. He's basically like a shield of sorts. So like if something hits you whilst you have him on, he will die instead, basically. Like he's a little shield of armor. Fucking hell, the monkey nearly got me there. I don't think they would have done the him, but there's no real way to know for sure. I want to get up there. Oh shit. Already fucked it. Oh no, cool, okay, I got that one somehow. Oh, that's what I was doing last time. That's okay. It's okay. The body slammed remind you of failed stage diving attempts. I can see that. I can definitely see that. Ow. This next bit should be fun. Okay. Oh shit. I was trying to jump over it, but that's not happening either. Oh shit, wait, I'm fucked now. Yeah, I'm fucked now. Shit, I had to jump over that. Huh. We'll get it this time. Most likely, I reckon. Is it not gonna work now? Son of a beach. Okay, I think I just have to time it there actually when I do the dive. I think that's the issue. I've got to try and dive like at full height so he gets above the boxes. Kind of like that. But not like that because he's not doing it. Come on, you fuck. No. So they just keep giving you harder versions of the same levels? Well, see, in the first game, the levels were a lot more defined, if I remember rightly, because it was more based on the zone you were in. Like, so if you were in a particularly, like, sunny zone, for example, it would be great. But, it would just be, like, them maps there. But this one does seem to have a recurring, like, map thing. It does, you do seem to get similar levels, like, or similar areas in each, like, section. What the fuck? Fuck this. Fair enough. It's only, like, one apple per box there, so who cares? I do, but I'm not going to let it get to me. I'm not going to let it know it's one. See, that's what you're meant to do. Oh shit, and I shouldn't. I could have gone for those. Fuck it. Okay. Oh, and there will be song requests, but we've got the music on from Crash Bandicoot at the moment, so we're going to leave that on, but then I'll probably be playing some Rocket League in a bit with Kyle, and maybe a third if there's a third that wants to, so I'll probably turn the music back on during then. And I haven't played the Spyro Master. I did play the Spyro games when I was younger though, man. Like, apparently says Pulse being from. Yeah, right. Son of a bitch. got no lives left either, so I kind of have. I think the last time I did a stone level, I was in the same boat. Available for no fair play, fair play. I'll probably keep it with because we'll be doing ranked. I only usually play ranked with like a couple of people, to be fair. So it'll probably only be if like one of those 3 people around. But we might do some community as well. You never know. But yeah, I don't really play that much ranked with. Oh, that makes life a little easier. With lots of different people. I try to like keep the same team for ranked, just so I can like kind of keep steady. Sparrowmaster is really fun if you're into trying to get 100% of everything you enjoy doing. See, sometimes I don't mind. I like doing like completionists, but a lot of the time I get halfway through it. I try and do it completionist for like half the game, and then after I'm like, oh, I actually can't be fucked. No, you champ, fucking A, dude, fucking A. Fair play, Mojo. Well, you're one of the people that we have played a good bit with. Yeah, that you were one of the people I was angling for. Yeah. That's it. That's exactly it. Like when you know how your other teammates play. That wasn't a good strategy. But when you know how your other teammates play, it becomes much easier, you know. And no worries, dude. Yeah. If we do community, more the merrier. Like if you've got any guy friends that want to join us for the community matches, they're always more than welcome. And like, you know, like if we ever get more than 8 people playing, we can always just rotate people around anyway, so it's the good thing about it. Let's try and glitch up there again so I can just jump. Kimi! Come on, little Crashy. Come on, you got your chin above that one. Right, okay. We will crack on. You only 100% the first game, didn't even start 2 or 3, need to go back to them. Yeah, I mean, I was like gonna do more completionist on this game, in fact, but I haven't actually gone back to the first one to do like all the gems and shit on there, you know. So yeah, I haven't really stuck to that yet. Oh shit. Okay. We'll start doing it more quicker. We'll try and leave a few more there. Jeez, otherwise we're just never going to get past the bonus levels. I swear the bonus levels are the bits that stump me the most. Chernobyl already the 2nd highest rated series of all time? Are you shitting me? Really? Wow, man. That's literally had 3 episodes out. I mean, it's good. I'm really enjoying it so far. It is good, but I wouldn't rate it, like, I wouldn't have rated it that high. It's a good series. I'm very interested to, well, you kind of know where it's going to go in certain ways, but I'm very interested to watch the rest of it. And it's a mini-series, so I don't think they're necessarily going to have, like, seasons after season. I think this might just be, like, a one-shot type deal. But yeah, really good series, but really, the highest 2nd rated already. That's crazy. Yeah, but it's definitely good, dude. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth a watch. It's grisly. It's definitely quite a bit grisly. But there's also a lot in it. Like, obviously, I think most people know like the fact that there was like an explosion at the nuclear power plant. Oh my god, I did it again. At the nuclear power plant in Chernobyl. But there's just so much behind it that like I had no idea about, you know. Excuse me. Don't know the first 2 episodes when you speak about last week, but you're not watching it? Oh, definitely should, dude. Definitely should. It is dope. Like, I've just been genuinely enjoying it. But yeah, it's not a happy-go-lucky program, you know. Oh shit. Oh, I'll leave that box. I'll leave that box. Sweet. Now we have prostitutes and heroin. Lovely. Yeah. After you through, it's a nice wholesome game. Okay, so there's a bastard monkey there. Bastard monkey. Wait. I have to go. Oh no, cool. How many apples does one Bandicoot need? Hundreds, apparently. Hundreds upon hundreds. Right. Fuck me. Yeah, fuck off. Oh shit, okay. No, I hadn't gone over the line, you sons of bitches. I'm gonna have to redo this whole level. It says Ravioli Sector 2 expansive mode, I've already got a half that season left, so don't you check out Chernobyl. Nice, cool, cool. Why does the pillar not break when the monkey jumps on it? Very good point. Bandicoot racism, that's why. That's why. Motherfuck. Shut up. No, don't say it. Shut up. No, shut up. Let me restart. Fuck you. Slimy little shit. Yay, the bonus level again. And we know how to do it right, yeah. So this run through, I'm going to try a different tactic. I'm going to not die. As much. If I can help it. Super careful. Okay, cool. So the points are back to normal now. Beautiful. I guessed right. I'm very happy about that. You son of a bitch, you weren't anywhere near me. I said I wasn't going to lose levels, lives. I know what they're doing now. Shouldn't it be 45 from Mojo? Depends if... Wait, it should be 45 for Mojo, yeah. Because you're a sub. Let me try once I get the next life kind of thing. But yeah, that should be more. Shit. Okay, so at least... Whatever I put for subs is what I need to put for regulars. He's a fake sub, that's it. He stole that badge. He knows it. I fucked that monkey's day up. Get some. 17 months of lies. Oh, bless him. Right, we're definitely not hitting that one up because it was a bitch. Haha, I could kick it like that. That's amazing. I wasn't sure. I'm glad that worked out because otherwise I'd have died too. Maybe I went for that a bit too quick. But you weren't there. You can't judge me. Chief of the Black Mine, 100 bucks, that's good. That's pretty good value, yeah. Did they offer you the free beanie that never turned up? Because a lot of people get burnt that way. Okay, new bonus level, guys. Let's see if we can figure it out. Oh, you can go fuck yourself. Stupid boxes. Thinking they're better than I. Bargain deals, right? You traded your right lung for a lifetime of Fizz subs. Nice, nice. What are you saying about that left one? Is that still up for grabs though? Because I mean, maybe you'd want a higher tier. Right, hell of a bargain. For just 2 lungs, you could be on a level 2 tier subscription, guys. I was really tempted to just sumo-plex that again, but what no. Am I a smoker? No. Oh, you're talking to Ned, probably. I don't think Ned is a smoker, actually, as far as I know. Not anything more serious than heroin, at least. Oh shit, that was dumb. Strictly meth, fair, that's fair. Everyone knows that goes through a different set. Doesn't go through your lungs, meth. Goes through your butt. Goes straight out your butt. I imagine it's not much more different than farting. Yeah, to be fair, I've heard at least 120% of people who've used it, cannabis, I mean, they die. Okay, and it doesn't, there you go. Deja vu. Someone should write a song called Deja Vu and it just never ends. Maybe I should be at someone. Patent pending, you guys can't do it now. Patent pending. Oh no, wait, I think Lamb Chops already did it. Fucking Lamb Chops. Nope, I didn't want to start that already.
Yeah, get some, bitch. Okay. Everybody that has a sink in a bathroom dies. Oh man, that's so true as well. I don't. That's why I don't have a. I just don't have a bathroom. It's just a hole now. So when it rains, I can still get stuff done. But beyond that, it's a pain, you know. Oh shit, that was so close. I didn't really want to hurt him. Seems like a nice chap. Stick. A rehab class where sometimes addition comes through subtraction. Meth and addicts come in this fall. Yeah, chap. Fuck you. Dumb monkey. Oh. No, I didn't even move! I didn't even move, that was bullshit. That was shenanigans of the highest degree, man. Fuck you, monkey. I ain't touching, I didn't move again! What the fuck is this? I can't stay on that platform. That's bullshit, okay. Right, so I can't stay on that platform to try and save my life, and possibly the entire race of Bandicoots. Well, fuck you. Ah, a checkpoint! Every time I say fuck you monkey, you die 2 seconds later. Can't really deny that. Yeah! Okay. Fun times. Oh shit. Fucking Crash Bandicoot DLC / Cuphead PLC. Oh shit, I'm gonna die. I didn't die! I don't care, I don't care. Ah, don't fuck it. It just, yeah, that falls really fucking weirdly. Oh my god. Come on now. Can I jump that in one go if I do the slide jump? No. No, I cannot. Right, well, I'm gonna... Whoa, shit! I was gonna fuck with his day. And then he started, like, counteracting it by walking towards me. Get wrecked, nerd. I planned that. Boop. Hey, an extra life. How did I know I needed it? The fuck is this? Okay, 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 okay. The fuck? Okay. Oh shit, I need to go over here. Okay, okay. The fuck? Okay. This is not fun. This is not good. There's the crystal. I need to get it in my butt. Alright. Crystal is in my butt. Tend a bit unstable, yeah. Yeah, what are they saying? We need extra life. Jeez. Gives you anxiety. Oh! Come on! They're not even rats, they're possum. Oh, I don't have Ooga Booga. Oh, that worked out. Yes. And boop. Go on there, lizard bitch. Yeah, I was worried he wouldn't be close enough. Couldn't just give me another straight up extra life, could they? No. Okay. Let's go. I mean, you do have to applaud the architects for actually making this work, though. It looks old as shit, too. Son of a bitch, fuck those architects. Bastards. You lived it. You survived. That works. Okay, cool. Because I was like, I don't think you can spin them, so slide kick was my only other option. Okay. We can do this. We're on. You're doing well, Crash. Your family believe in you. They probably don't love you, though. They definitely don't love him, no. Fuck you. Nope. I mean, it's not game over if I keep playing, is it? Got him. I got him.
Yeah. Shit. Will I ever beat this level? Tune in 5 months to find out. I nearly ran straight into that again. Okay. It's convenient to only applaud architects when their buildings work. Yeah, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All about all the times that it hasn't killed anybody. Should put all architects regardless of structural integrity. Yeah, just like how we should treat all artists. Okay, they just look at me. Look how hungry they are for it. It's not right. I don't know who keeps these pets, but they're a bad pet owner. That's one thing I'm comfortable saying. Fuck me. Campusha, if you haven't completed by the time you make, you'll be disappointed. You may well be disappointed, but at least you'll be clean. But we'll see you in a bit, Ned. You have enjoy your shower, dude. I will try my best. But yeah, prepare for disappointment, and then anything else is great. Just a little bonus.
Do a flip!
Okay, I will. There you go. Got him. I wasn't even looking because I said got him and went to read a thing. It was a good flip, yeah, man. Right. Yeah, I got him. Oh shit. Cool. Well, my Ooga Booga helped me there. Oh shit! Motherfuck. First, I was like, wait, isn't there a monkey here? But I remember doing that like, like as I was landing down, I remembered the monkey. He never forgot about me. I'm not gonna curse it either. That's not befitting of a gentleman like me. Okay, we got a double star Ooga Booga. Yeah. Best moments are disappointing ones. That's true. Especially because the only way is up after that as well. And get wrecked, nerd. And away we go. I wonder what this bonus level will be like. If you win a run after finally not cursing a monkey, it would be amazing. Yeah, it would teach me a lot about treating all animals the same. But I mean, I'm calling everything a dickhead. It's just, it seems to be the monkeys on this game take the most offensive to it. I mean, how many times have I cursed down Crash Bandicoot? He's not reached out from the screen and killed me. But sometimes I feel like he's not listening to me, so... Hey, we actually got through it, fucking A. Now we're up to 2 whole lives. Yeah, best run ever. Oh, thought Crash really shouldn't have gone topless. I mean, I don't have pity for him. He knew where he was going. Why he didn't bring a jacket, I will never know. I nearly cursed it, but I did not curse it, so we're alive. I didn't curse it! I said I didn't curse it! God damn you, game. Fuck you. Ah. You could be a good person. I know. Pretending is still pretending. Fuck you. And boop. Okay. It's like waking up to a homeless guy, or walking up to a homeless guy and telling him you almost spat on him. He's still gonna take offense. I see where you're coming from. And I mean, I apologise to that homeless guy. You don't need to keep bringing that up. He's either chill with it or died in the night, I'm not sure. And there we go. Keep it going. That crystal is so close to your butt, Crash. So close to your butt. And it's in. I shouldn't have gone for it. I knew that as well. I knew I shouldn't have go for it, but I was like, I'm gonna go for it. You only get to be a Bandicoot once in your life. I've been timing that so badly. Hey, bitch. Was that my last life too? No. Okay, nice. That was my last life. That was my last life. Yeah. I don't see him having hands and playing the game. I wonder if he's related to my Ooga Booga. Oh, aku. I do like the Scar-esque flavour and the guitars on this this level. Boom. Try complimenting the monkeys. Try to relate to them and understand their experience. Okay, I'll try. I'll try and be nice. I'll try. That was fun. I do quite like just punting. I was going for something different. It didn't pay off. Mainly because I did it wrong, but... Main thing to take away from this is it probably isn't my fault. Whoa. Oh shit! Forgot there's fire. This is like the 4th time we've done this bonus round, like, successfully if we do when we finish it. Not taking into account all the times I failed the bonus round in itself as well. Why? Crash Bandicoot. Why? Crash Bandicoot. If I end up in hell, it's gonna be like a mixture of like this and like Cuphead and just like every game I've ever struggled with. I'm just gonna be that character in the game, and I'll know I'm being controlled by my real life self. It'll be like one of those everlasting twist looped kind of things. I'm end up being the controlled character by myself in some weird timeline. I know that's going to be what happens if I go to hell. I mean, I don't know if I am or not. I've got to see how much flights are. So I can hear like a polar bear on this or something. See? It sounds like a polar bear. Don't know what that's about. Unless it's a possum? Maybe possums were alright? I mean, we don't really have possums here, so... I would imagine they squeak or hiss more than anything. Nope! And why did I press that? I keep pressing that button. I went to slide him. But, oh man, I just timed it all wrong. I don't know if you saw. Lovely to see you, Mr. Monkey. I hope you have a pleasant day. Fuck my life. Monkey, you're criminally insane. That's not a compliment, nor an insult. It's just something that it might be. Ooh, that was actually very close. Ooh, that was also close. Let's go try. It sounds like an insult to you? Well, I'd quite like to be known as a criminal mastermind. A criminal dumbass, yeah, that's offensive. But a criminal mastermind, that's fine. That's a compliment. It means you're clever and good at planning. And we're on the pillar. And we're going to the other shitty pillar. Criminally insane sounds worse than just... didn't I say criminal mastermind? Did I say criminally insane? Maybe I did say that. I thought I said mastermind. So technically, it's not my fault. I'm an idiot. Adjectives are mean. I don't know. Salmony. That person's quite salmony. That might be nice. Salmon's tasty. You'd love to be rendered criminally insane? It'd be great, right? That's the best kind of criminal and the best kind of insane. So, yeah. And I mean, you'd own that, like, that crazy house. No! And maybe I need new boots. Maybe his shoes are just like, they don't have enough grip. I mean, I don't think he's changed them. And they've been soggy, that's for sure. Okay. Do. I don't care about that. They can go fuck yourself. I want this checkpoint. I just want to beat this level at this point. I don't care what our final score is. What the fuck? I knew something looked a bit off. I knew I shouldn't, like, go straight away. Something just seemed a bit odd. Oh shit me. Oh shit. Oh, there is a gorilla. I fucking told you. I fucking said I heard, like, something like that. That's correct. I do know my animal noises. Whee. And we did. Crisp up the butt and completed it. What else could you ask for? We did save Ned from being disappointed. Yeah, sweet. That's what else you could ask for. Nice. That's it. Oh, he didn't pull up his butt. He hasn't put up his butt since we started saying he put up his butt. I think he's got self-conscious about it, and I feel bad. Like, if you like having gems up your butt crash, that's fine. You know, do you, dude? But, you know, don't feel ashamed. If you want to stick up your butt, stick up your butt. It's just as weird sticking it in your ear. Where'd you get that yo-yo from? Pretty good with it, but where'd you get it from? There's no shops. I looked. Oh, he's not very good. Let's go. Behaving. What if we are misbehaving? I should have changed to the female character for that little pun. Then it would have been a pun rather than just a a thing that exists. There's a woodsman here. Fuck you. Oh shit, I forgot it was this world. Man, yeah, so... Okay, yeah, that can happen. Okay. So yeah, like, it is a bit weird how, like, every time you go up on the elevator, it seems to have one of each type of levels still. I feel it would have been better if they just did this levels, these type of levels, and etc, etc. But they didn't, so... Fuck me, there was like a whole army of them. Well, that's not fun. I can't fuck up the beehive either. That's bullshit! That's bullshit! How am I meant to outrun the fucks? Or maybe I'm just meant to go underground. Yay. How'd you all survive the electricity, you fucks? No. Well, that's cute, but it's very life-taking too. So I do need that life, but at the same time, do I? Haha, get wrecked, nerds. Fucking Bugs Bunny'd them. This doesn't feel safe. Shit. Oh, again. Alright, alright. Hope you enjoy your job, you stupid mask. Real service of mankind. Mask kind, I guess. Let's kick it. Whee. Fuck you. Aha! You can't get me, bitch. Just run the fuck away before they can get to us. Cool. Bugs Bunny, move over, baby. Go fuck yourselves. Don't die, don't die. That was incredibly close, and I didn't like that. Ooh. Oh, and these guys. Well, you're a lot faster than the old boy. Ah. Unleash your powers. No, 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 no. You can get 4 of them, but the 5th one like always fucking gets you, man. It always gets you. Hey, and Inzamo, thank you very much for the sub there, dude. Whew. I'll pause it for a second. Why doesn't my thing ever work? Inzamo, oh shit! Thank you very much for that, man. Let me see why my bot is not doing it. Ooga booga. It's disconnected again. It just randomly disconnects and connects nowadays. Maybe it'll work in a minute. Maybe it won't. God damn. Well, thank you nonetheless, dude. Thank you very much for the sub. I have no idea why my bot's being so shit at the moment, but thank you very much. You played just trying to get the crystals. Man, like, well, first of all, these bees can fucking suck a dick. Every fucking time. They can suck a dick. When they hit was 1, that's fine, but these fuckers. But yeah, the last level was a bit of a bitch. Oh, come on now. If it didn't let you, by the way, there is a way to get 144 FPS, but you can't remember you do it. Yeah, I definitely haven't got that. It's like doing like 60 for me at the moment. Fuck off. Thank you. This is Crash 2. Crash 2. I completed Crash 1 like a good while ago now, to be fair. But I only got around to playing Crash 2. So far, I was like thinking Crash 2 had been way, way easier than Crash 1. Like I found it to be a lot easier, but no! But now I've got to these levels. It did say to me when I was playing this last, it was like, yeah, these last few levels will be the hardest.
Moment that he knew he fucked up.
Fuck your good timing, Mojo. Fuck your good timing. Damn. But yeah, I want to do this one and do the 3rd one probably quite soon after I've done the 2nd one. I can't really remember the 3rd one. Like, some of this is more familiar. For me, I definitely remembered a lot more of Crash 1 than anything else. But like, a lot of Crash 2 has still been very like memorable. Mainly the bosses. I don't remember these levels quite as much, but the bosses I all remember very, very fondly on this. But yeah, I can't really remember much from Crash 3. I probably will remember more when I see it, but I always leave those up. Number 3 opened with a water level and a flying level. Yeah. Maybe I won't play it straight after. To do like worse kind of levels in some games. No, fuck off. Just get out of here. No! Lots of secrets in this. Yeah, man. Like, there's been certain times. I'm sure if I'd just been a bit more brave, I would have got more. But at this point, I'm just trying to get through the fucking levels. Those wasps. Oh, insatiable. Or bees. It is called behaving this level, so maybe they are bees. Oh shit. Oh shit, no, fuck off. Get wrecked, bees. Fucking bees. The bees, not the bees! Okay, so I did just need to do that on that one, where I was trying to like save myself each time. Oh, so he can still hit me in the ground because he has a giant mallet. That makes a whole bunch of sense. I thought they'd be out at me already. So he's the Elmer Fudd, basically, character. Whew. That nitro seems like it's the best route to take. Alright, we've got some more dickhead bees. Oh shit, and some spiteful little fucking flowers. Okay. Ow. Oh no, it didn't hit me. Sweet. Woohoo. Will you kindly fuck off, bees? No, you son of a bitch! I didn't see them. I'm five apples off though, so that's good. Each sector has a secret world and you get a shortcut to the end 2 out of it. Oh, I do know. Like, do you know what the like, you know when you get like the skull platform come up? Do you know what that's about? Oh, I pressed fucking B. Like, I went on it once, but I wasn't quite sure if it actually helped me or made it worse. You son of a bitch! What a shot! Yeah, son. Fuck yeah. Little cowards. Oh, fuck off. If you would kindly. Nah, not again. Oh, the bonus level's right there, though. Okay. And it often has a crystal. Yeah, see, I've got all of the... No, it's going to restart me again now. I've got all of the anal gems that he keeps. You know, the ones that look like they fit up his butt a bit easier. I have all of those on them, but I have only got like one like diamondy type thing on one of the levels, and even that one I was like, I genuinely can't remember how or why I got that. Not a Scooby. And which one is this? This is... We're like 3 platforms up. It's not cold here, Crash. It's a fucking tropical island, you bitch. Or an Aztec palace type thing. So we're like 41% of the way through, but I think that's also including all the gems. So I'm not sure where the game reaches its final thing. You know, like when you complete the game, it might be at like 75% or something. I didn't realise I hadn't gotten first time round, and I was too shocked second time to do anything about it. It's not what I wanted. Oh, I can kick like that. Okay, that's cool to know. I wish I could destroy those like little bees' nests though, for sure. I never stay and collect those. That might be a bad idea, but okay. Oh, which sector? I think I'm on like the 3rd. Like, I think I've gone the elevator maybe. I think I'm either on the 3rd or 4th tier of the elevator going up. But I'm 41% of the way through the game. But again, I don't know where like the game basically like. I don't know if it gives you like okay up to. If you complete the game, that's like 75% because you still need to get the crystals and shit. I don't know if that's the case. So. If I ever complete the level, I'll let you know. I quite like those tiki heads. They're chill. Oh no, don't do this. Okay, well at least there's a checkpoint. Too close, man. I didn't get hardly any of those. Good times. Oh, you can kick him into the nitro. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay. Bear hell. Oh, bear down. Yeah, I did. Oh, you mean to get like the extra cool gem thing? I've done the bear down level. I remember that one. So it was fun and entertaining. I just walked into it. For the secret level, yeah, fair enough, fair enough. See, with these games, I'm always like going into it thinking, yeah, I'll do that. I'll like try and get all the secret bits and try and get it 100%. But then it usually gets to a point in the game where I'm like, do you know what? It's taking me far too long to get through this, so I'm just going to try and complete the game and then fuck it off. Yay! Yay! Yay, and then you're back and not disappointed. Yeah, boy. We've done a whole level. Yeah. Oh, fuck off. Why is it being nice to us at the moment? The bonus level usually fucks you up one way or another. Oh, there we go, it's Nitro. Yeah, boy, we actually did it. We usually die a whole bunch on the bonus levels. Also, in the walkthrough, jump on the polar bear's head. Oh, okay. Okay. I don't know if we still... I think we've done the polar bear level on this one, so I don't know if he's disappeared now or not, but... Hey, there's a gem. Fuck yo, fuck yo, fuck yo. Alright, I'm already stung. Don't need to come out anymore. Jesus. Alright, cool. I was waiting. I wanted to see if they'd like come after me and then fuck off. This gives me a bit of a run in space now. Whew. Let's see if any more thingies come up. There's a lot of extra movement tech you wouldn't know about in Crash, like some technical jumps you can do. I found out accidentally there was one where I went like, what was it? There was one where I did like a really cool... Oh shit! Fucking hell, no! Oh man, I won't show you now. There was one where I did some cool spiral kick type thing and I was like, I had no fucking idea I could do that. I wish I hadn't just tried to do it though, because it did make me fuck up a bit. Alright. Let him despawn. Oh, he's having a good old little up and down there. Doesn't really know what it wants. Okay. The easiest and most common is to slide, long jump, spin. Yeah, yeah, the slide, long jump, spin was fun. And like, I completely forgot about it. There was one bonus level I couldn't get past, and then Kyle was like, yeah, you can do that, you know. I think it was Kyle anyway. Oh, why didn't I just go underground? Like Jamiroquai. No. I'm sorry, Jamiroquai, you tried to help. It's not your fault. Take those apples. Just let that thing do its thing. Looked up online. There you go. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. And then I'd already given up on it at that point. So it would have been helpful if I had just persevered for slightly longer. So belly flop gives you, yeah, I know like a belly flop at the very peak can get it. Like I know there's a couple of bonus levels where the bonus levels kind of have forced you to learn the extra moves, which is nice. But like to get on top of some of those like indestructible crates are only destructible by belly flops. Like there's loads of bits I did remember from when I was younger on it, but loads of things that is like still kind of I forgot. Cool. Hey, we're free. Hey, and we got all of them. Nice. I think there's only like we've only got like a couple of those, and that was what we did. That wasn't even finding a special area, so I got it for getting all the crates. Damn. Insane Trilogy Leech has different fits to the original game, unfortunately. Oh really? I know I watched a thing about when they were making it, and they were saying like they were trying to basically make it like even though the controls and that would be massively improved, they were like they're trying to keep some of the old glitchy kind of controls, or where the controls were a bit more gammy at times. I wanted to try and keep that about it, but there's only so shit you can make something when you're trying to also make it good. Alright, Crash. Oh, boss fight.
Crash.
Yeah.
I have discovered that the opposition is being masterminded by Dr. Nitrous Brio,
Oh no.
the inventor of the Evolvo Ray.
Not the
Rio was
Elvo.
responsible
It's
for
perfect, but the platform edges are the
misunderstanding
difference. In original Crash, edges are straight, no degree angles. In this game, no slopes.
He
Oh
forced
man,
me to assist
yeah,
him in
like
his plot for world
it definitely
domination.
fits. Like there was like the
And
spinning
he's at it again.
like towers on that like
Will
Aztec
attempt
touch
to
level.
stand in our
They were
way.
weird. I don't remember them being that quite
Be
like
on your
playing with the
guard,
3 dimensions in the original one. What did he say?
Deliver the crystals to
Delivery
engine.
man. It's a good time to save. Let's save. That one had 0 lives, so we'll save over that one because that's not really going to be helpful. Oh shit, the smoke nearly fell over. God damn, I nearly had a heart attack. You big dummy! Dr. Engine. What could it mean? There's a bonus DLC that we got for free on Steam. Okay, you get some levels I can. Yes. It's on the fuck. It was on the first one, wasn't it? There was I can't remember what it was called. They have it on like I think the end of Crash Bandicoot 1. At least one of them was there because I did do that one. I can't remember if I completed it or not, but I definitely tried it and it was. I'm pretty sure I completed it. I'm pretty sure it was difficult, but not too difficult. Go jump on the penguin. Okay. Oh, it's not here. Okay, let's go down. Get down. Get down. Oh shit, I actually got 2 gems in that place. What did I just do? No, I don't want to be her. Jesus. I think the polar bear's gone because I've already used him. So I probably have already had him like murdered? I mean, taken to the farm. I think he's on the farm. No, there he is. He didn't get taken to the farm yet. Nice. Let's jump on him. I wanted to. Lovely, thanks. Oh, keep going. Okay, shit. Hang on. I thought we were done with animal abuse. Let me do one. Oh! Oh! Thank you very much for that one, Enzmo. Well, where was that? Well, actually, no, I'm glad we didn't get that before, because I'd have just wasted them. Nice. Hey, oh yeah, how you doing, man? So you reluctantly sold the TI, okay, for 330 to a computer exchange. You could have cried, oh man. Well, you said you're getting a 1070, right? Like, in exchange. And desperate times do count for desperate measures, man. But that sucks. That does suck, man. I know the pain of that must be horrifying. But you'll get it again one day. One day, in fact, you'll be like, do you know what? I've got the fucking 7080 Ti now. So, but yeah, that sucks, dude. But hey, it's done, and at least you've got money, which I'm assuming you needed if you were selling your 1080. But yeah, how you doing, man? How you doing apart from that? Also, have you already like got the new graphics card? And we've seen a 980 Ti for 150 online. Okay, that's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad at all, man. To be honest, I still have a 1060 one that I might be selling to one of my mates, but it's being a bit longer. So we'll see. Oh wait, I'm throwing fruit. I didn't know that. He doesn't like fruit. He hates fruit. This is why we got all the apples, everybody. Y'all being like, why we get those apples? We don't need those apples. This is why we get those apples. Because he like, how about them apples and all this and such. Fruit his ass. Ah. Get some, nerd. You're so good, don't you, nerd? Oh shit, that nerd got me. Yeah, did you hate this boss because it seems like you have to... Oh, cool, he throws him backwards. He's so, like, so confident in his own skill.
Fuck yo. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you. Come on, you tart. Unleash your bastard powers. When can I hurt him? Show me your goddamn laser hands. Don't just close them when I'm not there. That's mean. Come on then, do another laser attack. You little... I don't use my lasers on you. What the hell? Does he just keep closing his hands every time he's close? Don't close your hands! I'm trying to throw apples at your hands! How do you not know what I'm trying, dumb man? Okay. You haven't received the money yet. They're doing it by bank transfer, so you get it tomorrow. Oh, okay, fair play, man. Fair play. Well, at least you'll have the money tomorrow. So you can buy it tomorrow, hopefully. It's because the fight has phases and you have to do it right from the start every time you fail. Oh, one of those sort of battles, right, okay. Eat your goddamn apples, boy. Come on, you've got so much apple juice in your things now. There is so much apple sauce. Surely. Surely. There we go. About ruddy time. Fuck you, I'm out for his burger. This is a meat house. What are you doing now? You're a bit scared to open it now, aren't you? Although it's going to be hard for me to throw at you, because that's the one I'm avoiding. Are you going to do a laser thing or what? Oh, sweet. About time. Now what? Now what do you want to do? Now you... Oh, now you're doing rockets and shit. Righto. Righto. No, that's the wrong button. That's the wrong button. Ah, I saw it too late on the floor when I pressed slide. I wanted to press slide, in fact, but it didn't. It didn't press slide. It made me belly flop because I'd already jumped. Like a fucking idiot. Okay. Wee! Let you fuck.
Ooh, just makes me very mad.
There we go, okay. Apparently I never beat Neo Cortex in Crash 2. Oh, really? Fair enough, man. Maybe just like you went to bed one night, it's like, I can't be fucked. And then like you just never got around to doing it again. I mean, there's so many games I've been like, oh, I'll do this later, and then just never came back to. Because you know you've got that one last fight that was a bitch to do, so you like just never return. Man, he's so awkward about when he opens and closes those. Lose your fucking elbow, shoulder pads. This ain't the 80s, boy. That's it. That's it. That's it. You're weak. Surrender to my will. Oh shit, hello. So this one's just like a seeker. Right, I get you. I feel you. I understand what you're aiming. Okay, cool. One more left. If we die, we got to do it all again, which will be sucky. But we don't really know what he's planning on doing. That's what he's planning on doing. That makes it hard for me to hit you, you dick. Does he know that? I didn't get to jump across in time. So now we have to start again. Fuck! Right, I can see why you were annoyed at this one, then. Just fucking... If I could throw these more diagonal, it wouldn't even be a goddamn issue. Kim. Eat your vegetables. Fuck you. Whee! I thought I fucked it then. I thought it slid right into it. Well, I mean, fruit is fruit, but you're meant to eat a certain amount of fruit and vegetables. They quite often group together. Eat your produce. Eat your produce. That's, I mean, that's at least accurate. It is produce. How'd you like these apples? Ha 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 ha. Movie quotes and etc. Come on, come on. No! Oh shit. Know your own produce. That sounds dirty. Trying to trick him, make him pretend I don't care about him anymore, and then just throw him from behind me because he's not expecting it. It's like, wait, he's not even looking at me. Haha! I can open these whenever I want now. Whoa! I mean, I know if that window behind us was open, then Crash would be dead, because, you know, he wouldn't be able to breathe and shit. But it kind of saddens me that there's not going to just be apples floating aimlessly in space around that planet. How long would it take so... Wait, would somehow, like... If you were in space, right, and you just threw an apple out into space, like, it would freeze and shit, right? Like, but it wouldn't necessarily, like... It wouldn't, like, rot and shit, would it? Because that's oxygen that ends up rotting it, right? When it oxidizes or some shit, but... So would, like, fruit last longer in space? Real talk. Oh shit! That was a bit close. Where's my old a living thing? That's true. Okay. The cold would stave off the bacteria, right? Although I suppose if it's being also then subjected to like radiation from like the sun. So in space it wouldn't decay though. Okay, cool. That's good to know. That's good to know. I think they would just throw on super. Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, you know, just if you after so many attempts at this level, there could just be like hundreds of apples just floating around that planet, which I assume is Earth, but might not be. I don't remember this being on the news, and I feel like that would have got on the news. Fuck you, just accept your punishment. Okay, yeah, the cosmic rays net would fuck with it. So it'd be a hard one. It's a hard one to judge, I guess. I quite want to test it. How do you get grants for shit? Do I just need to like write a letter to NASA? Maybe call it an essay rather than a letter, and then they'll be open for it. Oh. It'll take a long time to break down, I think. Yeah, I think it would take a lot longer. It probably wouldn't be great to eat. It probably would be like... Because it probably would be irradiated somewhat. So it probably would be great to eat. It'd probably be really hard and solid. It might even like just collapse, I guess. Like just from like freezing. If you tap it, it might be like temperamental. Well, thank you for the quote, Kyle. Thank you for the quote, but not telling me how. Trying to make improvements in my life, jeez. Yeah, I think it would take a massive time to break down. I think it would be more likely to shatter, potentially, like, Right, so what did you... Oh yeah, you fucked up the ship. I feel like it's going to be extremely hard to beat him here. Oh, okay, it comes back up. Oh, that actually comes out a lot sooner than I thought. Fuck. It would just vaporize into dust? But what if nothing touched it? Do you think it would, like, vaporize before that moment? You don't know about fruit in space? That's why we need to research it. All this stuff we know about our own seas, but we don't even know if we can have fruit in space forever. Just go to the town hall and be like, where's my Grant at? That's true. What if there's just a guy called Grant? It's not an uncommon name. Actually, no, I've only ever known one Grant. Surprise, motherfucker! How you doing there, Toddy, baby? Gavin! Has anybody seen Gavin? Gavin! I'm really worried about him. Get some. Mojo, have you ever gone back on Red Dead Online since, like, we did it, man? Like, is it just, like, just abandoned? I don't feel like I hear anything about it whatsoever. Apparently there's a big patch coming. Oh, really? What, for online, or, like, potentially also for single player? Because that'd be cool. They intend to go full release with online this quarter. Oh, really? Okay, okay, so that's fair. That might actually make shit a bit interesting. Not been back on, but you heard they... Oh, that is true, actually. Yeah, I have heard they have fishing competitions, which would be fun. But not worth enough for me to pay money to do it monthly. Oh no, your shoulder pads. Oh, okay, so the next round is him just shooting that one missile at me, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, I mean, per year, that's not too bad, yeah. But I was kind of hoping they'd just... Oh, shit. I just hoped they'd release it on PC so I could play it for free on Steam. And get, like, some sort of 5M type shit going for Red Dead, because that'd be sick. Okay, so I need to figure out when's the best time to, like, throw at him and move on this bit. I think 1-2. We do the old 1-2, throw 1-2 and run. This might be harder though. Oh, okay, no, we did only have to hit him like 3 times. Okay, fair enough. Fucking A. Fucking A. Whew. I did not want to have to keep doing that. I'm more excited for Red Dead 5 than anything about Red Dead. Hells yeah, man. Honestly, 5... Like, I've not done any RPing on GTA. I may well try doing some RPing on Red Dead. I may well get into trying at least just giving a go at some, like, proper... You know, proper cowboy roleplay. It'd be fucking awesome. Yeah! Fishing on a boat! Could you even imagine? Okay, so that's done. So, up. Right? Up and away! Oh, we've got another whole room to do. Okay, okay. Fair enough. Oh, okay. You want to talk to us, right?
What is your problem, Bandicoot?
What do you mean? I've done everything you wanted.
I will not ask you again to bring me the crystals. Obtain the remaining 5 crystals, Crash, and bring them
Go to Guama, yeah, man. Maybe dare I say, Mexico. Even if they put in the old textures. And you just went into the old texture, Mexico. Where my crystals? Where my crystals?
somebody would make Tahiti, man. I actually, Enderman, you actually know, because you linked me a video once of this dude, but I've been doing, like, well, yesterday, I started doing Blender Guru's first tutorial, so far I've made myself a donut, a cup, a plate, and a table, and I've still got to add I'm at the step next where I'm adding sprinkles to the donut, and then I think it's, like, lighting and shit after that, but yeah, but... I you know, it depends on... Oh, it's not going to be done in Unity, so we'll, like, play that. But, yeah, somebody will figure out a way to make Tahiti, even if they have to map it themselves, basically. Yeah, man, I haven't put any more sprinkles or anything on it yet, because, I literally was doing that bit last night, and then was like, nah, I want to go to bed now. What the fuck are you? Okay, I can kick it. Yes, you can. Ooh, okay. Donuts, right? I'm proud of you, bro. That guy does, man. Like, to be fair, he's just quite good on it as well. I quite like his style of presenting. It's quite like... He apologises a lot for taking, like, a lot of time. But to be fair, I'm like, no, take as much time as needed. Like, you know, you end up pausing those sort of videos all the fucking time. So, I feel like you're going to be harder to kick. Yeah. But yeah, he goes into a good amount of detail. He doesn't like make it too overbearing, but how am I meant to kill you? Not like that. But yeah, I think it'd be cool as well if I can get to the stage where I can actually like, where I've got that like log cabin I've made, but obviously just by using like GIMP. Like it'd be cool if I can like actually make an actual log cabin in Blender, because then I can like shit. Oh fuck! Because if I can make the log cabin in Blender, obviously I have a whole 3D room. So then I could have like for my like in between games screen, I can have one corner of the room. Like if we're doing like a podcast or something, I can take it to like a different side of the room altogether. Like get different screenshots in different ways and that. It would be cool. But I think it'll be a long way before I get there. I mean, it took me like pretty much like all day yesterday to make a fucking donut and a cup. And then I had to make a plate, like he said like there was homework, but you had to like make a plate like before watching the next video. And I made the plate, but like that one there was no tutorial, so you kind of had to like freeboard it. And that took me ages really. Well, not too long, but long enough. Okay, so I definitely can't slide it. Yeah, man, that's it. Like, it'll be a long time before I get to like, well, how am I meant to kill you? I really don't know. Okay, that worked. Okay, that worked. Right, but like, yeah, I want to get up to that, but it's going to take a long time, don't get me wrong, like, it's going to take a long time, I think, to get, like, fully used to it, but it'll be fun. It'll be a cool thing to learn, anyway. Now, do I want to break these? Was there flooring underneath me? There was. Okay. Yes, I got the fucking point. But yeah, his version of like doing that room from Gongal, like it's just fucking crazy, man. Right, you look like I can slide your ass. Wait, hold up. Oh, I thought that was the door. I'm gonna slide you. Okay, I can slide you. Cool. No, you're not the one I can slide. Fuck. You are. No slide. Ooh. Okay, I can do that to that. That's good. That's good. Okay. And lift up. No. Okay, you're No. Oh, you fucker. I didn't realise they were the same thing. I thought it was a different type. Didn't realise it was just changing its direction of where it had to. Oh, that one nearly got me. Little bugger. Fuck you. And boop. Whee! Yeah! I didn't like how you started playing that when I was next to the Nitro, man. That was, I thought I was gonna fuck that for sure. Okay. Ooh, I didn't even see that. I was just gonna go to the edge to see what was over there. Somehow I completely missed that. Oh shit! Ah! That one sounded a bit more like Ooga Booga. There is so I'd never realised how many people had their own like interpretations of what he says on that. I still stick with Ooga Booga. I've been poisoned by my constituents. Come down with a touch of consumption. See, I can never like get those. Oh, thank giddy, my giddy aunt. Don't know where my aunt's giddy, but. Oh, that thing was trying to hurt me. How dastardly. So that's down, right? Thank fuck. Oh fuck me, I didn't think I was going to make that at all. I fucking hate it when they jump, man. That's the worst. Now, I could go back, but I feel like I'll just fuck up if I go back, so we're gonna take the nice and easy route. Oh shit, that wasn't a nice and easy route, we'll go back. Ooga Booga for you, never really questioned it. Yeah, man. Like, it's quite baffling when I saw people were. We have to go back, Kate. We have to go back. We didn't get the boxes. I really do enjoy the body slam on this game. It is very fun. I didn't want to risk it. I wasn't sure, so I didn't risk it. That's right. We got through it. That's the main thing. If you body slam Nitro Box, you gain special powers. Oh, nice. Thanks for telling me, man. I'll try that straight away. You gotta risk it for the biscuit. Mate, I got a box of, I don't know if Americans get this. So, if you're American, or, well, if you're not from, like, Britain, I would say, what you're about to see might be quite shocking for you. But it's the staple of British, like, corner shops. But you got what's called your broken biscuit box. Your broken biscuit box, which just comes with like a literal fucking bag of biscuits. This is like half eaten too. Half eaten. This is all biscuits. Various biscuits. Most of them aren't even broken. But I don't gotta risk shit. I got biscuits for days, son. But yeah. That's a biscuit box, so you guys just saw a real part of British heritage there. One day you get revenge for tricking into fart and Stephen got the neighbours on to see. That was one of my happiest moments, dude. Just getting you to actually fart on the security guards thinking it would work. That's it, the broken biscuit box, man, that's it. Oh yeah, that's it. I mean, I've got, right now, I've got fairly savage heartburn. I've been playing this game with like quite bad heartburn, but I don't care. Sounds weird, Todd. Basically, it's like any biscuit that didn't quite like make it through the cutting floor for whatever. Son of a hedgehog. Wait, am I just? No, I'm dead. Okay. But yeah, basically they're like any biscuits that didn't make it through like quality for whatever reason. So like sometimes they are broken. A lot of times they're not even broken. Like you get like plenty of completely fine biscuits in there. Even if they're broken, it don't matter. A lot of dunkable stuff you can get in there as well. So you're not like limiting yourself, you know. Ooh. You got baked yesterday and didn't have any junk food, so you were just eating peanut butter with a spoon. Ah, well, I never liked peanut butter, but I used to do it with like chocolate spread a bit. I used to find like even if you had like rich tea biscuits or even a digestive, put a bit of chocolate spread on that. That used to make me feel like I wasn't such a scum, you know. And that's it. Yeah, sometimes you get the double biscuits. They're like, no one wanted it, and you're like, of course we did. How do I get over you? Do I have to jump? You son of a bitch. Okay. I know how to defeat him now. All it took was everything. I think I can just spin him, actually. I probably don't even... Yeah. Okay, yeah, I could literally just spin him. That's fine. Do, 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 do. Cunt.
Hey, and Cha-Cha Anakin, how you doing there, buddy? Welcome to the stream. What an interesting name as well. I personally like to believe the theory that Jar Jar was actually a Sith. I like that theory. I stick with that one. But how you doing? Welcome to the stream, buddy. Oh, please. Thank you. This guy's a maniac. Okay, that worked. Cool, cool, cool. I thought you said torture Anakin. Damn. I mean, poor bugger's already lost his limbs. I do want that. Oh, thank you. I'll probably lose my life. Oh, yeah. I didn't actually see that plunger until that second, so I'd probably died there. Oh, that was lucky. Ah, sweet. And we're here. 35 out of 69. It's pretty much perfect. Get him! Shortcut fade, I'm around inside, God, well, motherfucker. You were Sammy Davis Award, Junior, Afro haircut, having ass, motherfucker. He stood that one down his throat. Mate, any orifice is fine with Crash. It's the only little animal I can jump on its head here. Nah, that's a shame. Okay, we're gonna rock it. Oh, I should have saved it. Be good, I'm glad, man. Spoiler alert. Nah, the film does that itself. Ooh. Okay. Okay. I do not remember this level from when I was younger. Like, not one bit. Oh, Jesus. Okay, I've got to learn that A is forward. And then, like, the joystick's up. This is a weird control system. I don't even know why it's so weird. Ah! It's like car ones, but it's fucking me up. Ah! Get down! Get down! Get down! Okay. Oh man, I hate the controls! Go up! Oh god damn. This is weird as fuck. I mean, I guess jetpacks are not meant to be easy, but... Thank god there's no enemies at the moment. I'm still not used to it. Oh shit, laser beam. Okay. Easy. Easy. No. I was pressing down, man. It's like it only takes a fraction of a second to like forget the controllers slightly and get into a huge panic. Oh god, this is nasty. You fuckers just stay on the outside, right? No, what did I just say? They just didn't listen, man. Right, do you know what? Fuck these boxes. We're just gonna get through this level. This is horrible. What are you doing, lasers? Make your next move. Oh, there's a fucking enemy now. No, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready. Don't be Palpatine in me. Oh, thank fuck. Oh, he didn't die. No, what's going on? Oh, I'm not pressing A. That's what's going on. Get in the fucking solar fucking blasting, you bitch. Okay, watch out for the giant tentacle electricity wires. Alright. We'll go for gold. No, I keep pressing the wrong thing. Gosh, yeah, that's it. I didn't get it. Yeah. This is horrible. And no worries, dude. You take it easy, bro. I'll catch you soon. Hopefully, I'll complete this game fairly soon. But yeah. Fuck. That was the first step. That's okay. But yeah, thanks for the sub as well again, man. Oh, god damn. No. But yeah, have a nice night, man. Yeah, that's it. Now go. Too small. Oh, I didn't. Yeah, it wasn't even an extra life this time. I'm wasting everything. My chance of happiness. Come on, bitch. Nah, bitch. Oh! Oh! Okay. Oh, thread the needle. Get past the lasers. No! I thought I'd just go right through the boxes. Oh my god. Let's reassess the situation. Let's try and survive without hesitation. That felt incredibly close. Oh, thank fuck. I can honestly say, fucking hated that. That was horrible. I'm glad that's over. Please don't give us that again. Okay. Right, yeah, I mean I got through it very easily apparently, but just because of the sheer not wanting to have to do it again. Right, I think we'll do one more level, then we'll take a break to do a little giveaway, and then we'll switch on over to Rocket League. I didn't get the gem. I didn't get the gem, so I have to do the whole thing again. Oh, god damn it, man. Fuck. Where was it? God knows where it was. I think I was just so focused on trying to, like, not die. Oh, it was blatantly, like, after I'd hit the, like, maybe it was after I'd hit, the, like, exclamation mark at the very back. Yeah. I mean, we might be able to control it a bit easier now anyway, because we know what we're doing. Kind of. Ooh, an apple. Okay. Easy crash, my boy. So let's keep an eye out for the gem. If anyone sees that shiny crystal gem, let me know, please. It's the matter of life or death. Or life and death? No, life or death. One of the two. Checkpoints. Oh shit, wrong thing. Oh! I was nowhere near it, and it's space. You can't have explosions in space, dummy. Ah. I do want the apples. I don't want TNT. Woohoo! This level is going to be so much longer with me actually trying to do it. Oh shit. No, don't stop being up there. And we got those ones. Okay. So I need to keep an eye out just in case the gem's in like one of these where I flew fast. We've got to find the Kyber crystals. And fuck off. Yeah. Okay. Ah! So there was a lot of time where I just, oh shit, no, go back, go back, go back, go back. There's a lot of times where I kind of skipped stuff around here. Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. No, no, no. Just want to go up. That's it. That's all I wanted. Just that one fucking apple. Okay, I still haven't seen the crystal. Get that box, you son of a bitch. No! Tried pressing the same button as go as to stop me. It didn't work. Ooh, laddie. Oh, laddie. Don't do that again. I still haven't found that crystal. There it is. Okay. How did I not get that? Do you want to move out my way? Or are you just going to be awkward? You're going to be awkward, aren't you? Do they blow him up? They should blow him up, right? I thought I'd fucked it there. Okay, cool. Alright, we actually did that one with relative ease as well, so that wasn't too bad. Oh, we only missed one box. That nearly was like our pretty much best run of the day. Okay, well at least got the crystal. Let's see where he stored it. Take bets now. Oh, it was a near one. Oh, nice one, Kyle. Nice one. Good guess. Good guess. Okay, we're going to save it there. And get moving. We'll save over this one because it only has 2 lives anyway. Although it doesn't really matter. You just have to replay the level. It's one of those games where the continue's not really too much of a consequence. Which is nice. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, let's get going to a giveaway, yo. So,